How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Ayin Beis, Daf 72 of Masechta Ksubis. Friends, let me tell you, it's a good daf. Alright, let's get started over here on Daf Ayin Aleph Beis, all the way at the bottom. Last line on the page. Hamader Sishta v'chulei. Wah. So the Mishnah had said that if a fellow says to his wife, you can't go to parties, you can't go to mourners' houses, so he's not allowed to do that because he's like being annoying. He's like locking her up, ki'ilu. So I understand why it's a problem to say you can't go to parties. It's like limiting her freedom of movement. It's chaval. So but I mean, to say don't go to like a mourner's house, like, alright, why, like, what's the big deal? It's just a mourner's house. So Tana Lamacher, he mesa, well, because in the future she's gonna die, Vein Kobir Yasofta, and nobody's going to eulogize her, because what goes around comes around, Lamaise. If you're not gonna go out and eulogize others, they're not gonna eulogize you. Those who say Ein Kobir Yasofna, nobody's going to bury her even. Tanya, Hoya Remeir would say, what does the pasuk mean? Tov laleches al beis Avel, did I get that right? I think I got that right. Yeah. El beis Avel, milechas al beis mishte. Better to go to a mourner's house than to go to a party. Bashu sof kol adam. I think I go to more mourners' houses than parties, but I don't go to that many mourners' houses. The only thing is that I do have certain things that'll get me out of the house. Usually it's to go to the cemetery. Like, if somebody dies, I kind of feel like I gotta go to that. How do we get there again? Okay. Better to go to a mourner's house than to go to a party. Yeah, I definitely don't go to parties. What the heck would I do at a party these days? But I would probably just bring my Gemara. Try to find people to learn with. Don't invite me to your parties. I won't be any fun. So better to go to a house of mourning than to a house of partying, because everyone's going to die. And a fellow who's alive will, pay attention. What does it mean? What's he going to pay attention? Things regarding death. The Safed Yaspedune, that somebody who eulogizes will be eulogized. The Kavar Yikburune, somebody who buries will be buried. The Yadal Yudlune, somebody who, picks up? I think, he cries out. So they'll cry out for him. The Levay Yilavune, he who escorts will be escorted. The Toin Yitanune, and he who, picked up the, coffin, I think? Just carried the coffin, I think? Will be carried. Oh man, there's friggin' suns in my eye. Dag nabbit. What do I do? Maybe I'll hop around sunglasses? Excuse me. Okay, the Mishnah had said, but if he claimed that it was because of some other reasons, then he's taka permitted. What's this other alternative reason? Well, if he makes the argument that the reason why he doesn't want his wife to go to this, I get part of the party, I guess, is because there are nudniks over there. So then it is then it's okay, right? So Mishmo, where am I? You're right. Then it's okay. So Amar Rav Ashi says Rav Ashi lo Amar and Elo there's chazik, but that's only if it's actually true. Hawalo is chazik local community, but if it's not actually true, there's no basis for actually assuming that there are nudniks over there. So then you can't just make that up. Vim Amar Lo Amnash Shatomri, and if he says on the condition that you say what you said to me or what I said to you, Vitema, let her say it. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel Dvarim Shel Kolon. Well, it's embarrassing things. Or if he says to her, I want you to fill up, pitchers and stuff and just dump them into the garbage. V'teyavid, just let her fill up pitchers and dump them into the garbage. Who cares? Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Shetamali v'nofetzes. Okay. That says Rav Yehuda name of Shmuel that it means that after the bia and she's filled with seed, she does some kind of dance of sorts in order to somehow loosen up the sperm so that she doesn't become pregnant. So if she does this little dance, so then they can't remain married. We learn in a Brisa that it means that she fills up 10 pitchers of water and pours them into the garbage. So I understand according to Shmuel, who says that basically she's going to take measures to make sure that she doesn't become pregnant or to avoid getting pregnant. So I understand why they have to get divorced. But according to the Brisa that says that she's filling up pitchers and pouring them into the garbage, let her fill up pitchers and pour them into the garbage. Friends, what do you think the Gemara is going to answer? No? No, friends? Think? What would happen if one of the yentis from the bungalow colony on Shabbos afternoon sees a girl filling up pitchers and pouring them into the garbage? They're going to think that she's a shota, and it's going to be a problem for the family. So that the yentis in the bungalow colony on Shabbos afternoon are going to be talking about how they saw this foolish woman who was filling up pitchers of water and pouring them into the garbage, and they're going to be talking to the town. The children aren't going to be able to get good shidduchim. They're not going to be able to get into yeshivas. It's going to be a big problem. The yentis in the bungalow colony on Shabbos afternoon. Amr of Kahana, a fellow makes a vow that his wife cannot borrow stuff and cannot lend out stuff. A sieve and a sifter and a millstone and a oven. These are all movable objects. Yotzi v'ting ksube. So they get divorced and she receives her ksubis. Because he gives her a bad name among her neighbors, right? If she's not allowed to lend out useful things, she becomes, all of her neighbors are going to assume she's just a nudnik. We also learn a Brisa like this. A fellow who makes a vow that his wife shall not borrow and lend, a sieve and a sifter and a portable millstone and an oven. He's got to get divorced and pay her ksube because he's going to give her a bad name among her neighbors as a nudnik. And also if she's the one who makes the vow that she will not borrow or lend a sieve and a sifter and a portable mill and a oven, and if she makes a vow that she will not weave very nice clothing for his children, she goes out without receiving her marriage, her ksube, because she gives him a bad name among his neighbors. What do you want me to tell you? Maybe I can take off the sunglasses now? Let's try it. Says the Mishnah, the following people get divorced and do not receive a ksube. However, sadas Moshe v'Yehudis, a woman who violates the halachis, the laws of the religion, a woman who violates, I guess, the halachis of Moshe and Jewish women in general. Moshe, what's considered the laws of Moshe? Well, if she feeds him untied produce, that's a problem. Or if she has bia with him when she is a nida. And if she does not separate challah from dough. Or if she makes vows and doesn't fulfill them. What are things that are sort of like minhagim of Jewish women that she is not in line with? Yotzav Rosha Parua. She goes out with her head uncovered. Vitova Bashuk. And she spins in the market. She's like spinning like threads and stuff in the market. And she's speaking with all sorts of individuals. Abu Shalom says, Abu Shalom is Yoldav Befonov. Also, if she curses his parents in his presence. Reb Tarfon says, Reb Tarfon Afa Kolonis. Also a Kolonis. Ve'ezvi Kolonis. What's a Kolonis? When she speaks in her house and her neighbors can hear her, the Gemara is going to explain what that means. So the Mishnah had said that a violation of Das Moshe is that she feeds him produce that is untied. What does this mean? If he knows that it's untied, nifrosh, then he shouldn't be eating it. If he doesn't know that it's untied, so mino yada. Well, then how does he even know to divorce her? He doesn't even know that he's eating untied foods. It's talking about a situation where she said to him, Ploni koyin tikkun li yisakri. Look, so and so the priest, fixed up the pile for me, i.e., it is not, we already separated Chumas and Maisus, Vazal Shaile, and the husband went and asked the fellow, Veshtikach Shikra, and it turns out that she is a liar. Excuse me, I'm going to babble yon. Okay, I'm back from my babble yon. Bisro. Mushamshaso Nida. And if she has beer with him, as a nida. Hechidami, how is this? Idi yadaba. Well, if he knows that she's a nida, so then nifrosh, he shouldn't be having beer with her. Id lo yada nismochilava. And if he doesn't know that she's a nida, well, then he should rely upon her that she's not a nida. The Amr of Chinna bar Kahana, Amr Shmuel, Minay lenida shesoferes la'atzma. How do we know that a nida counts for herself and she's trusted? Shneimar, as the pasuk says, v'safar lo shivas yom lo la'atzma, that she counts for herself 7 days. Her, right? Law to her for herself. Lo tzricha da Amr lei. Ploni chacham tirli. It's talking about a situation where she says so and so. The rabbi said tirli Saddam said that the blood was tahor v'azal shaile, and then the husband went and asked the rabbi b'ishtikach shikra, and it turns out that she was lying. By saying alternatively, Rav Yehuda, Rav Yehuda, that if her neighbors know her to be a nida because she's wearing like nida clothing, so by the loka aleh mishum nida, so then her husband will get makis if he sleeps with her as a nida. So we see that if her neighbors identify her as being a nida, so then we can assume that she's a nida. So here also it's talking about where they had bia, and then her neighbors come and identify her as her having been a bia, which means that Mamela she had bia with him as a nida. So then they get divorced and she does not receive a ksubit. Velo kotza lo chala, and if she does not separate for him chala hechidami idi yada nifrosh. If he knows that chala wasn't separated, so then he should just stay away. Id lo yada mino yada. And if he didn't know that chala was not separated, so then how did he ever find out to be able to divorce her? Lo tzricha da amalei ploni gabel tiken liyasaisa. Well, she says to him that so and so the kneader separated challah for me from the dough, and he went and asked slow and so the kneader, and it turned out that she was lying. If she makes vows and does not fulfill them, that we said that on account of the sin of vows, children die. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, do not allow your mouth to make your flesh sin. And then the continuation of the pasuk says, what are the handiwork of people? Have omer a fellow's children. So if a fellow, on account of vows, a fellow's children can die. Rav Nachman Omer Me'ocha says, Rav Nachman from here, Lashavi Casey as Benechem, that for shav, I have smitten your children, Lashav al iske shav, regarding sort of fraudulent things, i.e. Unfulfilled vows. Tanya Rav Meir would say, anybody who knows about his wife that she sinned, that she vows and does not fulfill her vows, he should go back and make her vow. How would making her vow fix the fact that she makes vows and doesn't do them? No, he should make her upset, so that then she will vow, at which point he will be able to annul it. Interesting. They said to me, they said to Mary, they says, look, that's not a good idea because you don't live with a snake in a basket, right? Because if the snake escapes from the basket, then you're in big trouble. So here also, you don't want to have a situation where your wife makes vows, doesn't fulfill them, and now you have to go back and do the homework. I mean, eventually she's going to make a vow, and you're gonna not annul it, and you're gonna get stuck. Tanya Hayr Rav Meir would say, Tanya Hayr Rav Yehuda would say, a fellow knows that his wife doesn't separate challah for him, so he can just separate the challah. And if she doesn't separate it, he can separate it. They said to him, that a fellow doesn't live with a snake in a basket, i.e., shouldn't have a situation where she is separating, where she's not separating challah and dependent on him to separate it for him, because there might be a situation where it doesn't end up getting separated. Mandatani lo aha kol shekain ahach. If you teach about it, about the challah, so then certainly, right, meaning Rabbi Yehuda, who says that by challah you could simply separate it. So then also by nidarim, Rabbi Yehuda would say that he could just make another neder and then annul it. Aval man demasni ahach, but the one who says that by the nidarim, by the vows, he can annul it. Aval ha zimna demikri va'achil, but by the challah, sometimes it might end up happening that the challah will be around and he might end up eating it. What's considered the Jewish law that she violates? Yotzav Rosh Perua, if she goes out with her hair uncovered, Rosh Perua. The Oraisi, but in having your hair, a woman having her hair, a married woman having her hair uncovered is actually the Oraisi. The Ksubis, the Apostle says, as far as Rosh Isha, that by a sota it says, and you will reveal the hair of the head of the woman. Vitani Divei Rabbi Shmuel, stop at the Besmedrash Rabbi Shmuel, before a rosh. That is a warning for the daughter of Israel that they should not go out with a revealed head. So we see that going out with your head uncovered is actually midoraisa. So the oraisa kalsa shabir domi. Well, midoraisa, sure, she shouldn't be going out with her hair uncovered, but she can take if you take, those like things that you put on your head, like those baskets or whatever, like storage vessels that you could put on your head and then you put things in there. You know what I'm saying? Like when people, oh God, like I don't know. You think of like old school. Like Rivka and stuff, right? Vichada al Shichma or something. Right? Wouldn't they put their like pictures on their heads and stuff? So something like that. Midoraisa, that would be considered a head covering. Das Yudis, but according to sort of the way of the Jewish women, afilu kalasa nami osir, that is not enough. I guess there would need to be more of a hair covering. Amr Rav Asi, Amr Rav Yochanan, kalasa ein ba mishum purosh. Rav Asi says in the name of Rav Yochanan that this like picture on the head suffices for a head covering. Havi bar Reb Zer doesn't understand. Heicha, where? Elema b'shuk das Yehudisi. If we say in the market, well, we said that the way of the Jewish women is that it would not be enough, that she would have to cover her hair more. Rather, we're talking about in a courtyard. And we're saying that this picture on the head suffices. And if that's the case, if you're going to say that even in your courtyard, you have to be covering your hair, at least with this container on your head, well, I mean, and we're saying, and if you don't do that, then then your hair is uncovered and you have to get divorced. Well, no Jewish woman's ever going to be able to remain married. So Abai v'temer of Kana michotzu l'chotzu v'derech mavu. Says Abai, some Sir of Kana, it's talking about from one courtyard to another, and by way of a mavui. You remember Erevin? So in that scenario, a head, the picture thing would suffice. So if you're in your own chutzner, you don't need to have your hair covered in your own chutzner. If you're going from one chutzner to another chutzner, then the picture on the head suffices. If you're in public, then you should cover your hair more. V'tova b'shuk, and if she spins threads in the market, Amr Yehuda Amr Shmuel, b'mayzo osel of neodom, she is exposing her arms to the people. Rav Chizda Amar Avimi B'tov Virad Keneged Ponel, says Rav Chizda in the name of Avimi, that's talking about where she is spinning and the threads are dangling between her legs. And if she speaks to all the people, Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel, says Rav Yehuda in the name of Shmuel, B'msachekes Bachurim, that if she's flirting with the boys, Amar Rabba B'chanes Imnechada Abakazirna Basrei Rav Ukva, says Abba B'chana that one time he was traveling behind Rav Ukva, Chazisi La'i Aravya Taba Yazva, and he saw a certain Arab girl who was sitting, because Shaja Pilcha V'tova Vrad Kineged Ponel, and her spindle of thread was dangling between her legs. Kevan de Chazisinon, and when she saw us, Sikte Lefilcha, she cut the spindle, Shadise, and threw it to Amrli, and she said to me, Ulam boy, Havli Palach, get me my spindle. Rav Ukva said about her Milsa something. My Omar Ba, what did he say? Ravina Omar Tova Bashuk. Ravina said that she would be considered spinning in the market. Omar ba Rabbanon Amrei Midaberesim Kol Adam Omerla. I'm sorry. Rabbanon Amrei, the rabbis say Midaberesim Kol Adam Omerba. He said that she is a flirtatious woman. So when it says, wait, did I skip? So Abishal says even somebody who, right, if she curses his parents in front of him. That's talking about where she curses his parents in front of his children. And a sign from the Torah is Ephraim and Menashe, Reuven and Shimon Yuli, that Ephraim and Menashe will be like Reuven and Shimon. I guess the 3 generations. Says Rabbi that if she says that a lion should eat your parents, and she says it in front of his kids. Says of Tarfin, also a woman who is a very loud voice. My kolonis, what she mean? She has a loud voice. Says if you know the name of Shmuel that she has arguments about Bia and it's very loud and the neighbors hear. B'masnisatana, start in a brayse, b'mishameshes b'chotzer zo, v'nishma kol b'chotzer acheres. That if she has bia in this chotzer, but it's very painful for her and she's yelling and screaming, and you can hear it in another chotzer. V'nisnai gabe mumin. Well, if that's the case, then it means that she has a very loud voice because she's experiencing pain during bia, then it should be considered a mum. B'masnisin gabe mumin b'masnisin. So it should be taught in the Mishnah where it lists mumim. El machvati kedishaninon. Rather, it must be like the original answer that she has like arguments about bia and it's very loud. Says the Mishnah, Mekadesh so Isha Menashe in Aleh Nedarim. A fellow, he betroths a woman under the condition that she does not have any vows, that she hasn't made any vows that need upkeeping. Vinim to Aleh Nedarim, it turns out that she has made vows. And Mekudeshes, well then, the kiddushin doesn't work because he was mekadesh her under the condition that she doesn't have vows, and she does have vows. Now it's unclear. The Gemara is going to explain what this is going on. But if he marries her stam without mentioning nidarim, and it turns out that there are nidarim, so then she gets divorced and does not receive a ksuba. If he betroths her under the condition that she does not have any blemishes, and it turns out that there are blemishes, she is not betrothed, right? There was a condition that wasn't met. If he married her stam, and it turns out that there are blemishes, she gets divorced and she does not receive her ksube. Any blemishes that would be a problem for priests would also be considered a mum by women, by wives. Now we have the same exact Mishnah verbatim by Masechta Kiddushin. So ki agavna. So alcha Ksubis is tuichale. Well, here we needed it to teach us the bit about Ksubis, right? Excuse me, I got a cough. Done coughing. So Tana Kiddushin, Atu Ksubis. So we mentioned the part about being Mekadesh, about the Kiddushin, so that we can learn about the Ksubis part. Awesome Kiddushin is Tuichalei, and in Kiddushin, they needed to teach about Kiddushin, so Tana Ksubis, Atu Kiddushin. So they also taught the Ksubis part over there in Kiddushin, since we need to talk about the Kiddushin, so we also threw in the Ksubis part, Oichet. Amr B'Yochanan B'Shim Ben Yotzadik, Be'elu Nedarim, Amush Lo Tochal, Be'elu Nedarim Amu, that when we talk about Nedarim, it's the following Nedarim, the following vows. Shelo Tochal Basar, that she won't eat meat. V'shlo Tishta Yain, that she won't drink wine. And she won't wear colorful clothing. These following vows, they said, things that have discomfort, that she won't eat meat, that she won't drink wine, and that she won't wear colorful clothing. Papa is curious. So when we're talking about these specific vows, what is it going on? If we say that it's going on the first part of the Mishnah, where the Mishnah says that if he is betrothed her under the condition that she does not have any vows, and it turns out that she has vows, and we're saying that those vows are these things, like not eating meat, not drinking wine, became the kopid, I feel komilinami. But since he's basically just saying stam under the condition that she doesn't have any vows, then it's all vows, not just these specific vows. So rather it must be that when he marries her stam, so then, even though he marries her stam, still, if she has these vows, that would be considered a problem. So no, so I'm sorry. So when he marries her stam, so then if she has these vows, then it'll be a problem. So fine. So it's talking about when he marries her stam, even if she has these vows, it's a problem. Rav Ashi Amar L'Olam HaReisha. Rav Ashi says that really it is talking about the Reisha. And when he says that under the condition that he's married, betrothing her under the condition that she doesn't have any vows, that's referring to sort of common vows like eating meat and drinking wine. But if it's something that people don't normally care about so much, so then that isn't included when he says that he's marrying her under the condition that she doesn't have any vows. That was Daf Ayin Beis of Masechet Ksubis. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.